Welcome back, beautiful, beloved souls. This really is part 2 about the trap of reincarnation, what I have learned. Now, you and I have lived hundreds of lifetimes, and we have fallen into what I call the reincarnation trap. So when you or I die, we supposedly have a life review and shown and made to feel remorse and guilt. And before I talk any further, for those of you who are new, my name is Jem, and I want to welcome everyone. So, as I was saying, when we usually what happens, we have a life review, and it's very loving. This is what it seems, very loving, and our guides show us a life review, and then after we have a life review, we're told, do you want to do it? No, we're not actually told. We said, the guides say, what lessons did you learn? And obviously you didn't learn X, Y, Z. So why don't you go back and reincarnate so you can learn X, Y, Z? And this is the trap. What I want to share with you is that the Gnostics told of Archons. Archons that represent reptilian beings that feed off our trauma, our fears, our pain. So every time we die, we are recycled, and the Archons have imprisoned us, and the Archons pretend to be loving our loved ones. They say, or if they're not our loved ones, a religious figure. They pretend maybe to be Jesus. And they, as I said, put us through a life review. And they say, have you learnt X, Y, Z? And they use the illusion of our loved ones to persuade us to do it all again. But they wipe our memories clean. So we have to start from scratch. And the truth is, if we were supposed to learn lessons, why aren't we left with the memory of the lessons we already learned? Now, this is one of my books that I have written, and this is the 6th edition, available from Amazon. And I channeled that life is a game, it's an illusion, and that there are reptilians looking or in control, and they feed off fear, of trauma. And in fact, like I said, the Gnostics teach this. The Gnostics teach that we are imprisoned. This is another book of mine, The Balance. And the reptilians, Archons, it's a reincarnation trap. So when you die, you have a life review, and perhaps a loved one says, go into the tunnel. Do not go into the tunnel. That is the trap, because that's the start of the recycling. I will make more sense as we go along. Now, I had a near-death experience myself. Around 2020, I took what should have been a fatal overdose. I was unconscious for 3 days. And at some time, I actually died. And when I died, I don't know how long, because there was no time in that near-death experience. I did not see loved ones. I did not see guides. I did not see a tunnel. I saw blackness, but I was part of that blackness. I was aware, and being aware, there was no fear. It was comfortable. I have to tell you that there are Archons have always controlled the world. Now, there are black projects who are in alliance with the grey reptilians, and they're getting AI to study consciousness so that we vibrate at a certain frequency, because at the moment, at present, many of us are wakening up to the truth, and the veil is being lifted so that the Archons are concerned about this, and they are trying to strengthen the frequency to make it harder for our souls to escape the reincarnation trap. Part of this technology involves 5G. Part of it involves futuristic. It's going to be really hard for our descendants when they get offered to integrate with AI. When they get this offer of integration, they then get this promise of immortality, and in fact, they're stuck. They're stuck in forever. Their data is stuck eternally. So, this is my impression of what the Gnostics taught. Now, the Gnostics taught that the Archons, which resemble reptilian beings, imprison Earth. And when souls leave, we are trapped into the illusion. We are trapped where we think, like I said, we may see a loved one or a being or a guide and try to force us into a tunnel of light. Love does not force you to do anything. Divine Source honors your sovereignty. So, do not be fooled. If you pass over, stay aware. This message, this PowerPoint, is not to harbor fear, but to harbor enlightenment and awareness that consciousness right at present is being studied. Everything is a frequency, and these black projects are studying frequency and how to trap our frequency so we can't, like I said, escape. So when you do die, I had to laugh. I got Microsoft Design to try to generate an image of reptilians, greys, and AI studying consciousness with these black projects, and this is what it generated. And this, as funny as these pictures are, in all seriousness, as I explained, this is a real thing. This is being what is hidden from us. Near-death experiences are being researched, and AI is learning the pattern of every time somebody dies, their consciousness leaves an imprint, and there are truly projects going on with a grey and reptilian alliance that is studying this and how to entrap us, because like I said, the veil is weakening because more and more of us are waking up. So, like I said, what is happening is we already live in an illusion, and when we die, there's an illusion. And I have done this myself as a psychic medium. I have cleared haunted places and souls that have not passed on, and I have told them, go into the tunnel of the light. You'll be safe there. Or ask for loved ones or guides to help you in the tunnel of light. But the tunnel of light just entraps you. It's a recycling. If you go back into that light, like I said, you will have a life review and told, what did you learn from this life? Maybe you can do it better in another life. And that's the trap, because the human game was never meant to be perfect. And if we were truly meant to learn a lesson, why do they erase memories of the lessons we have learnt over hundreds of lifetimes? Why, every time we come back reincarnated, do we have to start from scratch? So the lesson, they say, is we have to learn love, divine love. And this is where they play partly on a truth. When divine source created, because we are the creators and the creation, the lesson was to learn to go back to source. But these Archons have tricked us and erase, like I said, erase our memories every time we press that reset button and promise we'll go and do it better next time. And there's a belief that the moon is not the moon. It's not a real lunar, what do you want to call it, body, but instead is where our souls go to be sorted at, and this is where we decide to come back and reincarnate. So this is what I was in my near-death experience. I did not have a tunnel. It was black. And this is what consciousness may be. When one dies, consciousness, everything eventually fades, and you are left with blackness. And eventually you'll see maybe a tunnel of light. And this is what I'm telling you. That is a trap. Do not go into the tunnel of light, because you'll just be recycled. So this is, as I described before, AI is mapping our consciousness, and we are all a frequency. Reptilians are a frequency. The humans, we operate at a certain frequency. AI is a frequency. The earth resonates at a frequency. I've touched on this on other videos, and AI is learning the frequency. So when we die, our consciousness leaves our body at a certain frequency. Even if you tried to remote view or go psychic to certain black projects, AI can actually capture your psychic imprint and you can fracture. So, as I explained, Earth is an illusion, a simulation, and someone created the simulation, and it's the Archon. These Gnostic books were at one time part, from my understanding, of early Christianity, and then the elite saw how dangerous that knowledge was, and so they have removed it from the Bible. So there are the lost books of the Bible. Gnostics were Gnostic Christians, and they were hunted and killed for their extreme beliefs. But they were warning us, and there's a lot of spiritual people who have tapped in to this illusion of what happens after death. You can escape, and that's by keeping your conscious sovereign. This is me channeling. So, like I explained, as a psychic medium, I have, by mistake, I have learnt better now, but I sent souls into the light because that's what you're taught. The light is comforting. The light is home. And this is the deception that the Archons have, and NASA and other secret projects. You think they're studying space. They're all studying consciousness, especially consciousness after death. And I mistakenly sent people into the light. So I'm trying now to awaken the human frequency that we can escape the illusion. You have to know that it is an illusion. So when you die and guides come to you, question them. If they are forcing you into a tunnel of light, do not go. Love does not force. Love honors your sovereign soul. So, when one dies, the way to escape is practice in life. Now, how can you practice in life? Well, there are many ways, including meditation. And apparently, the more we meditate, the more we get in contact with real reality. So, as I said, when you die, you might see beings that look like light, but that's the trap. If they are pushy or try to force you into the light, they are not the light. They are the Archons Archons as disguised loved ones or angelic beings or even religious figures. This is my book, Awake in the Dark, a near-death journey of consciousness, where I've told you I did not see any tunnel, and this darkness, this black, was very comfortable. And this is probably, I think people are scared of blackness, and It's very comforting to see a loved one there or a guide saying, go into the light. That's very comfortable. But don't think that you won't see your loved ones again. You can help them. If they've already been trapped by the Archons.
This is a reminder.
Sorry. If they've already been trapped, you can still.
Sure. I can do something with my voice.
Alexa, stop.
Try that again.
Alexa,
As I was
stop.
saying.
Alexa, stop. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. She was listening. That just shows you how AI, isn't that creepy? She was listening. That's really creepy. So I've lost my train of thought. Yes. So a loved one could come and really they would, it's a disguise. And this is the disguise of the Archons telling you you didn't learn your lesson. And anyway, that's right. What I was saying is if your loved ones are already caught and have been reincarnated, don't stress, because you can still, if one person breaks free, you've already broken the cycle and you can save them. So again, this is my book, Awake in the Dark, and this is available from Amazon, Surviving, Awaking and Living Fully, Gemstone. So, as I explained, this was my near-death experience. So, again, I urge you that when you die, you may see a tunnel of light, or you may see someone you recognize, a pet even, but it's all, question them. Only your loved ones know you. And like I've said, Archons disguise themselves as loved ones, as deities, as angelic beings. Do not allow yourself to be forced into anything. Any decision you make is your choice. You are not to be forced into doing anything you do not want to do. So, if it feels artificial when you die, it probably is. Avoid it. Avoid going into the trap. Now, I don't mean to cause fear, but awareness. And this is just for you to be aware, not to freak out, but question everything. Divine love never forces, never pressurizes you into doing anything you do not want. And the biggest lie of all is that you have to learn love when we are love. Human game was meant to make mistakes. And if we were meant to be better every time we reincarnated, why do they erase our memories then? Because you would think if we were learning lessons and we'd already learnt X, Y, B, we would have that knowledge and only have to learn Z. Thank you very much for watching. This is my book that will be coming out soon, The Frequency Cage, How Souls Are Trapped and How to Escape. This is what the cover will look like. It's not available at the moment. Kindle is having some site issues. It should be fixed within 3 to 5 business days. So maybe the end of next week, hopefully. Thank you everyone for watching. Please drop a comment. What do you think about near-death experiences and reincarnation? I used to, as I said, believe, the lie. You don't need a life review. The thing is, if you say sorry every day, why at the end are you made to feel guilty and traumatized? If you are genuinely sorry every day, it's because the Archons feed on this trauma, and you've already done it many lifetimes. Don't feed them again. Thank you for watching. Please be kind to each other and to yourselves. Love, light, and blessings. And I am sorry for Alexa. She shouldn't have gone off like she did. Bye.